Okay, I'm back. We're here to talk about slope-intercept form for graphing a line, a really handy thing to know how to do. Before we do that, we need to review just where we're coming from. Okay, there we have it. Remember, standard form is handy. It gives you a simple way of writing an equation, but it's not one where we can easily picture what's going on. You can't immediately look at these numbers and make a mental image of what that graph is going to look like. We need a form that will do that, and slope-intercept is that form. All right? So before we do that, we're going to do a little bit of review of what is slope. Okay, there we go. Pretty slick, huh? Well, we are talking about slope, and slope is defined as the rise over the run. Now, the reason we need slope is that we need to talk about the angles that lines are at. This has no angle. It's a horizontal line. This is a vertical line. This is considered a positive slope because when we go from left to right, we're going uphill, and this is a negative slope. We're going downhill from left to right. The steeper the slope, the more near vertical. The shallower the slope, the more near horizontal. All right, so I'm going to give you a quick quiz. We'll have answers for this. What would you guess that slope is? Right there. There's guess number one. Okay. What do you guess that this slope is right here? That's guess number two. And what do you think that slope is? That's guess number three. All right, so that should help reinforce the concept of slope. Slope is defined as being the rise over the run. If you have your coordinates, the first coordinate would be x1 comma y1. That goes there. The second coordinate is x2 comma y2. That goes there. By making a fraction or a ratio of those numbers, you get the slope, which we define as being the letter m. We just sort of label it m for simplicity. So a little example here for finding the slope. Suppose we have 2 points, 3 comma negative 5, and 2 comma 13, just to pick random numbers. The way I would like you to do it, I think you make fewer mistakes, is simply look at the y's and ask yourself first, start with the y's. Y's rhymes with rise, so think of it as y's over 1, like the Wascally Wabbit hunter Elmer Fudd would say. Negative 3 to 13, that is going up, and it's going up by 18. Think about temperature. If it's 5 degrees below zero, you're warming up 18 degrees to get to 13. That's your rise. Over your run from 3 to 2, that would be a change of going down one number to negative 1. So you just say the slope is negative 18. We tend not to write it as a fraction like that, 18 over 1, because usually we're sophisticated enough mathematicians that we don't need to write things over 1. If it's the other way around, we definitely would write it as 1 over 18 or even negative 1 over 18. Okay, so that's our example for slope. Now, the reason that slope-intercept form is so handy is that by looking at an equation that's written in slope-intercept form, we can get an immediate idea of what the equation looks like. All right. So, for example, if I had y equals 2/3 x plus 5, okay, this is the slope of the line. That's a rise of 2 and a run of 3. And this is my intercept, where it's going to hit the y-axis. All right. So here is your slope, and this is the all-important y-intercept. Okay, it's called slope-intercept form for that reason, and the way we graph it then is very simple. We have our axes. Always start with your target point, your y-intercept. This is the y-axis, this is the x-axis, so you're going to go up to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 5, and you're going to have your target point there, and then from that point we do the slope. We go up 2 because it's a rise of 2, and it's a run of 3, and we make our second point like that, and there we have our line that goes through those 2 points like that. And then again we write the equation y equals 2/3 x plus 5, just for clarity. All right? You'll see that lines, families of lines that have the same intercept are going to all be going through that one point on the y-axis. Lines that have the same slope are all going to have the same angle. They're all going to be parallel. All right? So you should now be able to look at an equation like y equals 3x minus 7 and be able to make a picture of what that line is going to look like very quickly in your head. And to graph it should not take more than a couple seconds longer. So here's -5. The intercept is at -7, so there you are. The slope 3, that's 3 over an invisible 1, which I said we do not bother to write, but we know it's there. So it's a rise of 3 from that target point. Sometimes students think that they start from the origin or something like that. Remember, it's always from your target intercept point, and you go up 1, 2, 3, and then over 1. It's the rise number first over the run number, and it's going to be something like that. Okay? And then again, you'd label this equation, write it on that line for clarity. Common mistakes are going over 3 and up 1, flipping your numbers. Just be really careful. That's where you as the student have to do your homework and practice, practice, practice. All right, good luck with that.